The only abortion clinic in Mississippi has closed its doors. We're talking about Jackson Women's Health Organization. That's the clinic at the center of the Supreme Court case that overturned Roe v. Wade. Well, it has now closed its doors for good as that state's trigger law banning most abortions goes into effect today.
Less than 2 weeks after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, at least 13 states have now ceased nearly all abortion services. Joining us now is Laphonza Butler, the president of Emily's List, the influential political action committee that works to elect Democratic pro-abortion rights women to office. Laphonza, thanks for being with us. And I know you were here right when the draft opinion was leaked, when we were concerned that this may in fact be the end result, that Roe v. Wade would be overturned. I'm curious, in the weeks since the overturning, what have you seen? What has the fallout been to women on a personal level?
Thanks so much for having me, and good afternoon to you both. The impacts have been dramatic in terms of the care that women are able to access all over in states all over the country that have closed their doors, where clinics and abortion services and healthcare services are no longer available. The impacts have been dramatic. I think the other impact, though, that we've seen is the anger and outrage. The people who are showing up at protests, men and women alike, generations are showing up to protest to ensure that their government officials know that this is not something that they're going to sit back and watch happen, that they're going to stay in the fight and do something about it. And so I have been heartbroken as well as inspired in the last few weeks. And it's been a lot of work, but we have a lot more work to do.
Laphonza, you mentioned anger and outrage, but some are also turning that into action. Will you tell folks, tell our viewers what you have seen and the women you have heard from now wanting to get engaged in the political process and wanting to run for office?
TJ, it's a great point. You know, we're not just seeing women and people who were showing up at protests. Just in a few days after the final decision, more than 500 women reached out to Emily's List just through a website, saying to us that they wanted to run, that they wanted to raise their voice and do something about the governments and state legislatures who are taking away, who now have the power based on this decision to take away their rights. And so we are working to support them. We have an online training center. We have an online community where they find peer-to-peer support. And when they're ready to join, to actually figure out which candidacy they want to seek, we're there to support them. We are excited about the number of Democratic pro-abortion rights women who are showing up and wanting to do something about this moment and to raise their voice in leadership.
Laphonza, you mentioned the protests that we've seen throughout this country with men and women both taking to the streets with outrage and disappointment about this decision. Do you think, though, those protests and that immediate outrage will translate to the polls? Will people take that emotion with them to vote? Do you think what happened with the overturning of Roe v. Wade will have a significant impact on the midterm elections?
Amy, you know, this country has never seen what we are experiencing, where the Supreme Court rolls back, takes away a right, particularly after 50 years of precedent. And I think Americans are angry about it. And I think that you know, what we're seeing by way of protest is only a small fraction of what we're going to see at the ballot box. And so I do believe that the protests are going to turn to votes. We already see how it is showing up in the space of accountability and making sure that elected leaders know the will of the people. And I think that the American people are not going to stand for the Supreme Court decision that takes away their right. And they're going to work to make sure that those who are elected are those who stand with them in supporting a woman's ability to make these decisions on her own.
And Laphonza, you all, I guess another measure here of the reaction people are having, you all are seeing some record fundraising numbers.
We are, TJ, and you're right. It's another demonstration of how people are trying to find ways that they can make whatever they have available to this fight. To some folks, it is money, and yes, we have had low-dollar contributions online coming in and had our strongest June fundraising month ever. and those who are reaching out to run for office is incredibly inspiring. Those who are showing up, the physicians, the providers who are continuing to show up to work where they can to provide the healthcare services that women across this country need, all a demonstration of and a manifestation really of the anger of the American people, and I think their commitment to do something about and create the kind of future that our children really do deserve, where all of their freedoms are intact and that when there are no second-class citizens in our country.
Emily's List President Laphonza Butler, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you both.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.